You've heard me answer some of the deepest technical questions in Super Mario RPG, like, why does Geno Whirl work on XOR? Or why does this thing kinda look like Boshi? Now it's time to answer the most important question of my YouTube career. Am I a liar? Today, we take a way too thorough dive into the mechanics of the Lucky Egg game. In a previous video, I briefly mentioned that the Lucky Egg game, where you can potentially double your battle winnings, was rigged. I had included what I thought was pretty definitive proof. I showed a slowed down Lucky game where the egg containing the Yoshi clearly landed in a different spot than where the game claims it was. It all seemed pretty cut and dry to me. But I got a bunch of comments telling me that I was wrong. Multiple people claimed that they followed the egg with their eyes, and it ended up in the correct spot. Now, I hope you guys trust me enough to know that I do my homework before I put these videos together. I ran tests that all confirmed my suspicions, and I verified my hypothesis with other Super Mario RPG professionals. If there's one group of people who know this game even better than I do, it's the speedrunning community. Experience and money management are huge parts of a successful speedrun, so if there's anyone's word I trust about the Lucky game being rigged, it's theirs. That said, I don't claim to be perfect, and I'm sure they don't either. Those comments saying I was wrong had me second-guessing myself. Maybe I had missed something. Maybe years of common knowledge in the speedrunning community was wrong. Even if I am right, at the very least, if so many people remain unconvinced, that means I didn't do a good enough job proving that I'm right. So, it's back to the factory for more science. To start, I used a Super Nintendo emulator on my computer called BSNES. While there are multiple emulators out there, BSNES focuses on accuracy and performance. By most metrics, it's as close to the original Super Nintendo hardware as you can get. If we're going to test a game that involves rapidly spinning eggs, we need to make sure the frame rate we're seeing lines up with what we'd be seeing on original hardware. With this, we can move on to the tests themselves. If the Lucky game is not rigged, that means you can follow the correct egg with your eyes. I ran 100 tests where I tried to follow the egg with my eyes. No special tools used, no slowing down the frame rate, nothing. Just watching the eggs move in a circle in real time. After running these tests, I got really dizzy. But I also learned some important information. First off, the animation of the eggs moving around is not the same every time. The length of the animation varies by a small degree. This is a point in favor of the game not being rigged. If the animation was the same every time, the correct egg would visibly end up in the same place every time, and it would be easy to conclude it's a sham. But how did I do when it came to following the correct egg? Well, that's where things get interesting. If the Lucky game is truly rigged, you could expect to guess the correct answer roughly 33% of the time, whether you're following the egg or just blindly guessing. Out of 100 tests where I tried to follow the egg, I got the correct answer about 33% of the time. That should seal the game's fate right there, but statistics has a way of being funny sometimes. Plus, I'm sure some people will sound off in the comments that my eyes are bad or something, so I did more research. If the Lucky game is rigged, that means the animation of the eggs spinning has no bearing on their final location and is all for show. This, in turn, would mean that the final location of the correct egg could be quite different than where it appears to end up once the animation is over. Out of my 100 tests, I looked for the most egregious examples of this I could find. I have presented one here for your viewing pleasure. Try to follow the egg with your eyes. Once more, with a pointer to help. Again, but slowed a bit this time. Now let's go painfully slow to really make sure we're all on the same page this time. That wasn't even close. Keep in mind, this wasn't a fluke. In my 100 tests, I have more examples of this same issue. So by all appearances, the game is rigged. But even after all of that, something still doesn't sit right with me. If the game is rigged, how is it that so many people are convinced that it's not? This isn't a few people either. We're talking about a pretty sizable portion of players who thought you could follow the egg with your eyes. I don't think these people are lying, or second-guessing with malicious intent. There are way too many of them for that to be the case. There's gotta be some other factors at play. So I decided to dig into the comments themselves and see what, specifically, people were saying, and address those points here. Far and away, the biggest retort people came back with was that the egg spinning animation would reverse direction partway through, or the eggs would bounce off of each other and then end up in the proper spot. Now, I'll be honest here, I don't see what you guys are seeing. I watched these stupid eggs spin around 100 times and I never saw them bouncing off of each other. But thinking about the eggs reversing direction did remind me of this video that circulated the internet years ago called The Spinning Dancer. Depending on how you look at it, the dancer could appear to spin clockwise or counterclockwise. It's an optical illusion based on the concept of bistable perception. That got me thinking that something similar might be happening here, that people could see the eggs spinning in a different direction, or even changing direction mid-spin, because of a similar difference in perception. There's a somewhat related optical illusion called the wagon wheel effect, where videos of something spinning really fast appear to spin slower, or even in the opposite direction compared to how they're actually spinning. It has to do with the RPM of the rotating object conflicting with the frame rate of the video. I can't help but wonder if there's a similar issue with the egg game. At 60 frames per second, the game runs pretty fast, but that doesn't mean the eggs appear to move in a fluid, flawless circle. These optical illusions could explain why so many people seem to see something that I couldn't. But here's the fun part, and this is something I was wrong about myself. I always thought that the eggs spun around in a horizontal circular motion. They don't. The eggs shuffle back and forth, left to right, while going in front of and behind each other. You can see that in the slowed down footage. Notice that the middle egg we're tracking goes in front of an egg on the right side, and then when it shuffles back to the left, it goes in front of an egg there too. Again, this isn't a circle. This is more like a traditional shell game. See what they did there? Shell game, Yoshi egg shells. Now, if you were trying to follow the correct egg, whether they're moving in a circle or not wouldn't matter too much. Either way, you would be following the egg based on its momentum. So the correct egg going in front of or behind another egg wouldn't lead you to different answers. After doing all of this research I've presented to you, it's clear that people getting it right are just getting lucky. So why do so many people think it's a skill issue? To be fair, when I was a kid, I could have sworn that I was following the egg and getting it right too. I believe the answer is a simple case of confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is the tendency for people to interpret information in a way that confirms what they already believe to be true. We want the lucky game to be a game of skill. We want to be able to follow it with our eyes. After all, that's what the game seems to promise you can do if you try hard enough. You have a 1 out of 3 chance of guessing the correct egg. While that means you won't get it right most of the time, that's still a significant amount of times you will get it right. And while the animation doesn't always line up with reality, it will be right, or close enough to right, sometimes. If you go into the lucky game believing it's a game of skill, it's easy to justify a win. You followed the egg and claimed your prize. Add to that a lucky streak of winning 2 or 3 times in a row, and it's easy to jump to conclusions. The animation also moves pretty fast, and sometimes the animation ends up in a weird spot. Maybe the correct egg appears to end up kinda in between two of the spots. If you fail, you justify it by saying you just lost track of it that time. It's your brain attempting to make sense of something that's simply random. After our extensive testing, it's clear that the lucky game is just that, a game of luck. Anything else is your brain, or frame rate inconsistencies, lying to you. This whole video was put together because a bunch of people questioned me in the comment section. By doing that, you let me know that my last video wasn't thorough enough. I hope this video makes up for that. This was made possible thanks to viewers like you. Thanks for keeping me honest. Join me next time where we'll go in depth into the ways I pronounce Malo and Balome. It's sure to be a lot of fun. Until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.